Hi, my name is Rachael, and I've been a part of VCC since the very beginning. I moved to Philadelphia in 2003 for graduate school and started attending the Blue Root Vineyard. I went there for about a year and then came with Brad and Becca to plant the church in West Philly. And during that time, I wasn't super involved. I went to a small group. I volunteered a little bit here and there, but I also knew that I was probably going to be leaving at the end of the year. When I graduated, I was blessed to be offered a job with the Arizona Opera Company, and I was thrilled to be given this wonderful opportunity. So I packed up all my stuff and headed out to Arizona, and while I was there, I felt like I was kind of achieving one dream in a sense. But at the same time, it was really difficult to be away from my friends in Philadelphia. I didn't realize how important VCC had become to me. But I would talk on the phone a lot to my friends while I was so far away and kind of wish that we were all together. While I was out there, I developed a lot of pain all throughout my body, really, my hip, and my back, and my shoulder. And no doctors could really explain what was going on there. They thought maybe I had injured myself, or maybe I had a hernia, and no one really expected exactly what ended up happening, which was I was diagnosed with stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I was an otherwise healthy 24-year-old, and here I was with a really serious blood cancer. So during that time, I went through intense chemotherapy, lots of physical therapy to try to relearn how to walk. And one of the things that was really helpful was my community back here in Philadelphia. Friends in Philadelphia really did a great job of taking care of me from a distance. They would call me, they would send caring emails, even some care packages, and on some weekends when I was feeling well, they would visit. And the whole time that I was going through all of this, my main thought, my main goal was that I couldn't wait to get back to Philadelphia. Even though I had completed grad school, I didn't have a job in Philly, I had come to value this community more than anything else in my life. And so I would lie awake at night dreaming of Philly, thinking about food from the Reading Terminal Market and dance parties with my old housemates and the events that were going on at VCC West Philly. And I just started making plans for Philadelphia to once again be my home once everything was over. So I went through my 8 rounds of chemo, and the doctors ran several tests, and there was still evidence of cancer in my body. They couldn't tell me that the cancer was gone. So I was basically just kind of waiting around to see what would happen. They couldn't give me any more chemo. I'd been maxed out on that. So I was really just biding my time. I had heard that the Vineyard Eastern Regional Conference was going on and some friends were going. So I flew up and went with those friends to the Poconos for the Eastern Regional Conference, and it was a really great time. I got to experience worship with a really large group of people. There were some really amazing workshops going on, and I also got to meet people from other Vineyard churches who I hadn't met before. And one of the days, a friend of mine convinced me to go to a workshop called Midwifing the Holy Spirit. I had no idea what it was about. I wasn't even planning to go to that workshop, but this friend was going and convinced me to go to that one. And while I was in the workshop, the guy that was kind of teaching and leading the workshop, his name is Mike Tergiano, he's from the North Brooklyn Vineyard. He was teaching us how to pray and just pay attention to what the Holy Spirit was doing and be sensitive to that. And after he explained it, he called some people into the center of the room, and we were all going to pray for them. Well, I happened to be one of the people that he called into the middle of the room, and he started praying for healing, which
I would expect had it been a couple months earlier. I looked very sick then, but at this point I was getting better. My hair was growing back in because I had finished the chemo, and I was walking a lot better. I don't think he could just tell that I was sick from looking at me. I think the Holy Spirit was really showing him that I needed some healing. So that felt really good. Nothing miraculous happened in that moment, but it was a nice reminder that God had been hearing my prayers and the prayers of others, and he hadn't forgotten about me. So that night we went to a party, and Becca, one of our senior pastors at the time, was there, and she asked how my day was, and I shared that story, and she insisted that I go tell Mike what was going on with me. She informed me that pastors need encouragement too. So I knew I wasn't going to get away with not telling him, so I had to go find him in this party and interrupt his conversation. And he was very kind about it. He was talking with a bunch of other male pastors outside, and they all took time out, put their drinks down, and listened to what was going on with me, and then prayed for me right then. They all laid hands on me and prayed. And again, it was no flash of lightning, but it was a really nice and meaningful time, and I felt really cared for, really a part of this family that we call the Vineyard. So the next morning, we all went to the worship session, and I felt something that I'd never felt before. First, I felt free to worship in a way that I hadn't felt free before. And secondly, the doctors had said, you know, there's this spot on your spine, it's where this big tumor was, and even if the tumor goes away, you'll always have a hard spot right there. It'll always be a source of pain for you. But for the first time during that worship session, I didn't feel any pain in that spot. In fact, it started tingling. And in that moment, I think I realized God may have just healed me. So I was very excited. I went back home to Florida and shared the news with my mom. And she wanted to be excited with me, but she was also a bit skeptical. We decided not to get too excited until we went back to the doctor and saw some test results. So that happened a couple weeks later, and sure enough, those test results came back, and the doctor was able to say that, I'm getting emotional. The doctor was able to say that I was cancer-free, and that I had gone into remission. And I believe that God really used that conference and that prayer time to heal me. So 2 days after I was declared in remission, I got on a plane and I moved back to Philly. And I moved in with some friends from the church who had offered to take good care of me and help me get back on my feet, figuratively and literally. I brought my little dog Alfie, who I had adopted, and everyone was really, really supportive, really helpful. They helped me make the transition back to normal life, and I'm just super grateful to this community.
And since I've been back, I actually decided to attend seminary and get a Master's of Divinity. And I came on staff at the Vineyard as the associate pastor almost 2 years ago. And it's been an amazing journey, kind of a dream job for me.
I'm really excited about this new building. I can't wait to see how God uses this new space, how God uses our community. I can't wait to see other people be healed by God in this place, and just the way that God really impacts people's lives. So I'm super excited to share in this journey with all of you, and I'm really looking forward to building it together.